All right, everybody. Well, excited to share a little bit tonight about this thing called the achievement system. And I would put the camera on, but there is sun on my face, so it'd be kind of hard to see me. But I'm excited about just kind of going and diving into this training tonight because this is really special just for me on a standpoint of I've been applying what you're about to listen to today for over 20 years. It's a system that I kind of move, and any opportunity that I've ever done, whether it's network marketing, whether it's affiliate marketing, whether it's being a CEO of a company, I've implemented what you're about to implement or about what you're about to see and hopefully implement it. And what's great about this is you can apply in all aspects of your life. So we have the 6 areas of your life, which is financial and then physical and then mental and then family and relationships and spiritual, anything that you want to kind of put this into a system in those areas of your life, especially the ones that you want to improve on. You can do that with this amazing system. So again, a couple housekeeping things. If you could just mute your phone and we can definitely have a quiet call as well. All right, so let's kind of get into it. And again, we're going to talk about a lot of cool things that you can take and run with at the very end of this and implement this week and this month and the rest of the year. So the first thing that I wanted to share with you is why do we need a consistent system? What is the deal about consistency, right? Well, from my observation of being an entrepreneur, looking at my own self, and of course, a lot of you, and working with thousands of people over the years, the thing I think that people struggle with most is obviously being consistent. And that can actually ring true. And hopefully I get your attention on about what I'm about to say is let's take your marriage. So if you're married or if you have a boyfriend or a girlfriend or a partner, and you don't have to raise your hand because I don't want to embarrass anybody, but has anyone in your life said to you, you are not consistent? Maybe you've been broke up on because of this. Maybe there's been a marital issue that, your partner is looking for consistency. I know it sounds so simple, right? And sometimes I roll my eyes because I've been told this, by the way, me, beyond driven, someone that's very driven and stuff. I've also been told that I'm not consistent in certain areas of my life that really my partner could benefit from, et cetera, in the past. So I treat this very seriously. And you might think to yourself, well, I haven't been consistent because I lack clarity, or I haven't been consistent because I lack the vision. And I totally agree with you. And I think that's where it comes down to, because I believe anyone on this call can be so consistent if you're passionate about it, if you have almost a mission statement, vision is being pulled, you're being pulled by the vision. There actually is that ease, right? So it shouldn't have to always be a fight. Like, for instance, a marriage or any healthy relationship or even a business partnership shouldn't always have to be a fight. Like, I shouldn't have to feel like, oh man, I'm trying to get the affiliates on this call tonight. It's like herding cats. It's like, well, why is it herding cats? Oh, not herding cats, but herding, not herding, but herding, HERDING. It's kind of funny, but it's like, it's hard to herd a bunch of cats like it would be goats or cows or something. But it's, if it's always a fight to get the affiliate, or if it's always a fight to get the spouse, or if it's always a fight to get someone to, whatever that relationship is, then it could be an issue of vision. It's not that you or the other person or affiliates are not consistent, because let's face it, we're all consistent at eating food every single day, hopefully. We're all consistent at taking showers, hopefully, every single day or maybe twice a day. We're consistent at drinking water. We're consistent at watching TV. We're consistent more than anyone. Or pretty much the whole world is doing this, but looking at your phone. I mean, how many times are you grabbing your phone, looking at Instagram, looking at Facebook? I mean, we're all consistent at that. So the good news is we can be consistent at certain things, right? But every single one of you want to achieve a level of financial freedom that maybe you've never achieved before. And that's why you're here. You're wanting to take your business win the FICA program to the next level. You want to achieve a residual income that even your parents have never even fathomed. Maybe anyone in your family has ever even got paid before in residual income. I mean, again, looking at the statistics, I say this a lot, but only 1% of the world currently makes $100,000 a year or more in residual income. I mean, it's very rare, what we have in this offering. So again, you should be consistent. I should be consistent. But what does it come down to? Well, the first thing that comes down to is change, fighting change, right? And I want to start off by just asking this question to you, because I've certainly seen this happen so many times. Have you ever attended an inspirational or motivational event and come away with great intentions, to change only to find yourself back to your old habits within just a few days. Okay, let me give an example. So back in like 2006, I think was the first year, maybe 2005. Yeah, it was March of 2005. I went to a national convention for my first direct sales company, and it was in Oklahoma City. I was in San Diego, and I was so broke. And I got my first recruit after 6 months of no results, and his name is Jason Anderson. And Jason Anderson was basically homeless, and he still signed up for $26. And I had a car at the time, thank God, and I had my car repossessed about 7 months prior to that, so I had to get a new one. And we drove from San Diego to Oklahoma. And I went to this convention in like a different pair of black pants to my black shirt, because if you shop at Marshalls or TJ Maxx, you're going to get, like there are two separate blacks, which I never thought that would even possible. I thought black was black, white was white, blue was blue. But I was definitely not looking sharp. I was in the nosebleed section of the Cox Center, which is still there next to the Ford Center. And for me, this is what happened for me. The convention was kind of not that great. I mean, I learned a lot, but there was a guy named John Addison. So John Addison used to be the CEO of Primerica and a great speaker. I think he's still alive today. And he was like, big in the Citigroup and Citibank. And he got on stage. And let me tell you something. He's from Southern Georgia, has an accent. I'll kind of do a little bit like him, but he was like, he's like, quit listening to people more screwed up than you, quit listening to these people, get off your butt and go do something now. He was just like, whoa, everyone's like, whoa, pumping up. And of course, he's a phenomenal speaker. So I come out of that convention. Of course, I met a lot of people. I go back to San Diego and I said, I'm going to start my own event. And luckily, 4 months later, I did. I hit the top position of that company in August, and that was at March. And I never looked back. I started making $10,000 a month that year, and then never went under 10 grand for the next 20 something years, and got up to 6 figures a month and beyond. So, but the whole point is, a lot of those people never did what I did. And again, I'm not trying to pat myself on the back here, but my whole point of that story is I saw clarity. I saw a home for myself, and I saw a place where I can say, this is my home. I want to build myself as a leader. I want to do the work, even if it's hard. I want to quit listening to people more screwed up than me. I want to be consistent in something that's going to be here next year, and it's going to be here for years to come. I want to build a legacy. And I was able to really do that for 9 years and made great money. And of course, went over to another company. And a lot of those people came with me, and it was great. And even today, some of you probably are from that. But it was a great experience. But here's the other kicker to that. From convention to convention, I started to speak on stage, but the people that were at the first convention were not at the next convention. And then the next convention, 6 months later, no one was there that was at the previous convention other than maybe 3%. And that's what got me to think, I'm like, oh my gosh, the events are not really what make people consistent. The Zooms on Monday night are not what make people consistent. What makes people consistent, drum rolls please, is a science of achievement. It's literally down to a science, just like biology and chemistry. It is a science. And what we're going to show you today is the science of how to achieve. And I don't say that lightly. That's not like a joke. This is something that is very, very incredible once you really understand the power of this, where that you don't have to fall victim of the motivation and the inspiration only. Because let me tell you something, we're not going to be inspired 24/7. I could be inspired after this Zoom, and then 3 minutes later, I got a text that now I'm not inspired. Okay. So, it's emotions and feelings. We can't let emotions and feelings run. So good intentions must be supported by effective choices, right? So again, I've already shared kind of my journey. I won't, share any more on that right now, but we do, what do you get out of the system? It bypasses just instincts, focus on sustainable growth, ability to embrace change, a system of accountability, better day, better month, year. Okay. So what that means is, let's go to instincts, right? Let me give an example. So many of you in January, and we have some fitness enthusiasts like myself on, so they don't need a January to get a gym membership or work out. But it's crazy that every year fitness centers across the US are overwhelmed by new registrations in January from people who genuinely want to become physically fit. They have good intentions, right? That they want to be physically fit and that are backed by New Year's resolutions. But by March, most of these registrations have canceled by March. what you guys experience. I mean, you can't even really use the gym in September or January because everyone's packed. Everyone's trying to use it. Everyone's trying to get in shape, and they're checking their macros and their micros because like new year, new me. It's just like John Addison would say, new year, new you. Yeah, right. A bunch of malarkey. It's not about new year, new me. How about right now, July 15th, a new month, a new you in July of 2024, July 15th. So again, that's instinctive, right? It's like, okay, I want that. My intentions are good. But why are good intentions not enough to generate change? See, good intentions must be supported by effective choices. And that is where most people go astray. Achievement happens moment by moment, one day at a time. Okay, let me stop right there. So you want to focus on sustainable growth. You want the ability to embrace change. You want abundance. And I don't say that word lightly. So let me kind of define abundance to you, because really this Zoom tonight is about abundance. It's like, how do I get abundance in my life? How can I be fruitful? How can I see the fruit of my labor? Abundance is exactly that. Achievement that happens moment by moment, one day at a time. That is what abundance is. So abundance is not going to a meditation week. Abundance is not going to a convention for 3 days or buying into a mastermind or buying into a coaching program. Abundance is not praying and expecting God to manifest great things in your life. Even the Bible talks about this, right? Thank God if you're a believer, or believe in any God, whatever that is, that you do have health. So when I look at God, I look at God is abundance. God created abundance. God is everything. So he created us. But God's not going to just give me an abundant life just because I asked him. So when you knock when you seek and you knock desperately, the door shall be open unto you. But think about that. The door shall be open unto you. What does that mean? That means you have to walk into the house, so to speak. You have to walk in to that place. And God's giving you the ability. He's giving you communication skills. He's given you listening skills. He's giving you eyes, nose, ears, senses. He's given you energy. He's given you hopefully good health right now at this very moment. So you have every ability to go and create a lifestyle in a life that you've always dreamed of. But the challenge is people just think it's supposed to just fall on their lap. And here's why it doesn't fall on your lap. And here's why prayer needs to be met with action. And here's why belief needs to be met with action. And here's why having a great attitude needs to be met with action, because that is our God-given right to actually have free will. So once we have free will and we can make choices, that choice leads to the choice to make a change, whether it's a good change in your life or a bad change in your life. And this is how serious this is sometimes. And I'll just get real serious. Then I want to go back to joking because I love being funny and I love joking. But the serious part of this is every day we have 60 to 90,000 thoughts. So there's going to be thousands of different choices in our life. And how many of you, maybe by show of hands, or you could just say hi, not verbally, but just, maybe give a thumbs up or whatever. How many of you sometimes are scared to death of a choice? Like there's a big choice in your life that you got to make right now. And you're just like, I don't know what to do. And you're even doing the right things. You're meditating on it. You're journaling. You're asking God. You're asking, maybe even advice, a parent, a friend, a colleague, a therapist. But you're just not getting that clarity, right? So, and again, I wish that will help. I hope this call maybe will help nudge that choice along, because I know what it's like to not have that clarity. But what I'm going to show you with this system, and that's why it comes down to a science, is it's going to help you get that clarity. It's going to help you really put the puzzle piece together of the biggest choices you have to make in your life, but then also the small ones, because we don't want to sweat the small stuff, right? We want to be able to make wise choices. And yes, not every choice you ever make in life is going to be the wise one. You can't just also be too analytical where you just think way too much and then you're also hurt by that. So you got to get at least some clarity though. And the other thing is embracing change, because the world is changing. The sun is going down now in Florida. That means it's going to come back up hopefully tomorrow morning. It's about to get dark here in Florida. That means there's change happening currently as we speak. The weather changes. My kids right now, I'll be heading to Illinois this week and to see my kids for a long time. And right now there's tornadoes everywhere. There's a lot of issues in the weather, but by next week, there's no more issues, right? Until there is other issues. So it's just like how life is. You're either going in a storm, you're in a storm, or you're coming out of a storm, going into another storm, right? And I don't mean to make you feel depressed about that, like life is just a bunch of storms, but life is a battle. And life is a battle, and life can be a game. It's fun, it's great, it's rewarding, but just like a warrior, you do have to be prepared for the battle. So you might be asking yourself, okay, why are you saying all this? I thought this was like a T group thing, or or a affiliate thing, affiliate marketing thing. Because it's everything to the opportunity, and it's everything to your personal life. Because I don't know about you, but when I feel horrible, when I don't have clarity, when I feel like I don't even know how to talk to a business owner or talk to a fellow affiliate or coach someone through something, if I'm feeling horrible, right? If I don't have clarity, if I'm not focused, if I don't have a plan, if I don't have a strategy, and that's what this means, right? And that's what this whole point is. The challenge of change, it comes again that we have to be supported by effective choices. So good intentions under the direct control of your natural, good intentions are under the direct control of your natural human instincts. So again, you can have all the best intentions in the world, but without an effective management system, which keeps your choices in alignment with your goals, your comfort zones and habits of thought will take over. And there it is, ladies and gentlemen. Your comfort zones and habits of thought will take over. So what does that look like in your life right now? What is something that you feel overwhelmed in your feelings and your emotions are actually overtaking you? How many times have you sat down with all the best intentions to make a call to anyone, whether it's a affiliate, potential affiliate, or a business owner, or whatever you're doing, and you sit down and all of a sudden you don't feel like it, right? You don't feel good. And you're like, you know what? I'm going to do this tomorrow. And then we put it off to procrastination. And then we get back to tomorrow. And then now we lack the self-confidence because we're like, in our subconscious or conscious mind, we're kind of like beating ourselves up over that because we didn't take the necessary action that we know that we should have taken. So you're probably thinking, okay, Todd, how are we going to bring this together? Because that's how I feel, right? I feel like that's exactly me right now. And I'm disappointed in myself because I haven't booked enough calls, or I feel like I can do a better job. Okay, well, it might be the simple issue of not having a system of accountability and actually a system of achievement, right? And I'm going to show you exactly what that looks like in the 4 elements. But just remember, you cannot become who you have never been by doing what you've always done. I want to say that one more time. Write it down if you can. You cannot become who you have never been by doing what you have always done. Positive change is the key to achievement, and your effective daily choices are the stepping stones. Okay, so with that said, think about that. Your effective daily choices. Okay, good intentions, effective choices. Your choices every day need to become the most effective. Okay, now think about this. What are some choices that you've made recently that are not that effective? Let me give you a couple examples just to have a little bit of fun here. Going to the cupboard at 11 o'clock at night and getting popcorn, or worse, potato chips, right? And even if they're avocado chips, they have high calories. And your intention for the month of July, in the beginning of the July, is to lose 10 pounds. And look, actually, I'm talking to myself right now because that was my goal. I want to go from 235 to 225 and get a little bit more ripped. So I'm telling you the truth. Sometimes at night, at 11 o'clock at night or 12 o'clock at night, or maybe even 1 o'clock at night, because I don't want to go to bed because I'm rewatching Breaking Bad for the third time. And I'm sorry, but Bryan Cranston is the man, and Aaron Paul. But I love that show. So I'll go grab a couple chips or 30, right? Now, is this effective choice? No. Is this going to make or break me the next day? No. Am I going to wake up completely obese tomorrow? No. But if I do it over and over and over again, even if I'm eating clean the whole day, I'm going to add 5 more pounds at the end of the month as opposed to losing 10 pounds. So a system of that was when I go to the grocery store, don't buy as much or don't buy any of it. So that way my cupboard doesn't have those. And then when I go to reach for them, I'm like, oh, I'll just grab a soda water, and then that'll make me full. Does that make sense? I mean, that's just a small example, but it could be anything. It could be you're not going to the gym. You keep putting it off. You're not going consistently. It could be not telling your spouse that you love them. I mean, one of the cool things you can do if you're married or if you have a partner, as soon as this ends, just call them or talk to them if you're with them in person, or maybe it's a long distance relationship. Just tell them you love them, or just tell them you're thinking about them, and see how their day goes. Put them first. Say, hey, is there anything I can do for you? Is there anything that you're going through? If you ever want to talk, I'm here for you. Or it could be a friend. I mean, it could be your own mom. Sometimes even me at 43 and my mom's in her 70s. When I talk to my mom, it's usually about me. And as a grown man now, I'm thinking, why is it always about me all the time? It's kind of selfish. I should call my mom and just see how she's doing. But I don't really think like that organically, because I'm like, well, that's my mom and she had me and I'll always be her baby. It's kind of weird, right? And I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but my mom loves talking about me. But sometimes we're even burdening people sometimes with our own problems, or not even asking, so how are you doing? How's everything going with you? Tell me about what's going on. So again, these are effective choices that are building a better relationship with people either you work with or that you're family with and all that good stuff. And this really helps even when you're building an affiliate team. Just reaching out, being more proactive, taking more intentions, being more assertive, not aggressive, but assertive, seeing how everyone's doing. Now, I'm not saying be a therapist to everybody, but you can definitely, do all these little one percenters every day, and it adds up. So what I want to do is get into what is the achievement system, right? There's 4 elements of it. So simplicity is the key to a successful system of achievement for any leader, because a simple system can be duplicated by others. Group energy is generated from the use of a common system within a group, large or small. Then from a consistent system of achievement, a common language and a synergy of teamwork is spawned. So this is really causing a lot of synergy. And I'm going to briefly discuss each element here. So in the vision statement, this is one of the most important things that I've ever done. It really builds a clear vision of where you're going in the future. But the great thing is you're creating it. So again, not to get too spiritual on a call that's more business, but again, my personal beliefs is I was created by God, and God also made me in his own image. So what that means is I have creative abilities. Like I can create, whether it's a drawing, whether it's an idea, but I can create an idea and I can implement it and I can take action on it. But the thing is that most people don't do this, even though they have the ability, especially after college, right? 25, you're already at a corporate America job and you're struggling or whatever, maybe you're doing good. And then a baby's on the way and stuff like that. So this is something that a lot of people just don't do. I mean, I would say over 90% or more of people walking in America don't do this. They're not thinking about this. They don't really want to focus on it, which is crazy, right? So what this is, now every business focuses on it. So when you walk into a yoga studio, when you walk into a gym, when you walk into a corporate America building, the first thing you're going to see is values. What is our mission statement? That's the first thing that you're going to see with a business, which makes total sense because they're a business, right? So congratulations, you are now a business. You're not an individual. You're not your name. I'm not Todd Cahill. I'm an LLC. I'm a business. So I am building a business all over the country, and we're impacting business owners all over America, big or small. So I have an LLC, and I show up in my core value, and I show up in my mission statement of why I do what I do. But then you take that, and my family's a business, okay? Because in my family, I got to pay for a lot of things, and there's a lot of expenses in my family. But then I'm also investing a lot of my time into my family. Does that make sense? That's a business. So, and I know a lot of people don't like that word business, especially related to family, but I'm just saying, like, you carry with your mission statement in that family, in your health. Your health is kind of a business. Your body is like, you want to continue to do your life, business, whatever you got to do in a healthy body. So in this vision statement, you're describing a perfect day 5 years from now, and even 10 years, but I would say stick with 5 and begin writing a description of that perfect day. You should somewhat be realistic, but be careful not to limit your potential. This statement will be the foundation of your future planning. So what I've done is I've always described it as be, do, have, right? What do you want to be? What do you want to do? And what you want to have? And then put it in this 5-year present tense where, for instance, that would be July 15th of 2029. And for instance, you could be like, you know what, today is a phenomenal day. I woke up at 7 a.m. in our 3,500 square foot home on the beach here in Maui, Hawaii. This is our second home. We also have a 5,000 square foot home, in Illinois or in Utah. And you just start describing your homes. You describe the square footage. You describe, what's happening with your family and what activities that you are going to be doing for the day. Kind of what the business that you built did. I'm so grateful that, today, July 15th, 2029, that I was able to earn $1 million a month in my business and residual income for the rest of my life. It's over $12 million a year. I'm able to afford this amazing lifestyle. I've also invested in certain stocks and bonds and be able to actually live off, 10% of the interest of the money that I invest. life is greatly secure in that retrospect. I'm able to do XYZ for my parents because, one is sick, one is getting older. I'm able to, so you're really just diving into like every 6 areas of your life in one statement. Now, this should be like 1 page, maybe 2, but it shouldn't be long. It should be like a couple of like maybe 5, 6 paragraphs, even in just maybe 6 at the most, but in every area of your life specifically, like your mental health, your spirituality, your finances, et cetera, et cetera. So this is going to be like the kind of Mount Everest, if you will, in a good way, not a negative way, of where you're going to be hiking in the next 5 years, to get to the very top of Mount Kilimanjaro or Mount Everest, where now you can see a whole different vision because you have a different perspective that shifts. Now we're going to backtrack that. So what we do is we don't keep moving forward. Now we're going to be like, okay, this is where I'm going to be in 5 years. You love it. You're in love with it. You print this out, you laminate it. This is like your mission statement. This you put like also like a sentence that describes you. Like, who are you? I am a this, I am a that, I am a, how do you help people? Who are you? What are your core values? Stuff like that. And again, I can really, work with people, on a more personal level, one-on-one than just doing a Zoom here, but, plenty to kind of go through. But that's something I really work with my personal clients on, that is really identifying like what that looks like and everything. So the second thing is going to be, and if you guys can mute your phone, the second is going to be annual goals. So what's cool about this is like, okay, at the end of 2024, what are the 3 goals that I'm focused on? One could be financial, one could be health, one could be spiritual. But these are the 3 things that maybe you struggle with. These are the 3 things that in July 15th that you're really having a hard time with, that you'd like to improve on. Now, if your marriage is like insane, awesome, congratulations. I mean, that's amazing, right? So you wouldn't really put necessarily an annual goal for your marriage, other than maybe a monthly initiative of continue this and continue that of what's making your marriage awesome. But I would rather you take the 3 things that you really want to improve on, 3 things that you really want to see growth in, and just identify what that looks like. Okay, so let me just kind of read this quick to you that I wrote down. So annual goals at the beginning of each year, well, since it's the middle of the year, we literally only have 6 months left. You want to set 3 to 5 annual goals that will move you closer to your vision. So these goals will be and should always be determined by and based upon your vision. Okay, so it's getting you closer and closer to the 5-year vision. So from these 3 to 5 goals, you will create action steps that will outline what you need to do to accomplish these goals. Hence, we have now the monthly initiatives, right? So the monthly initiatives, you're breaking down annual goals into monthly plans, right? So the action steps from your annual goals should filter down to your monthly plans. You will need a month at a glance calendar for this. So make sure that if you don't have like a planner or a calendar, I'm making one for my brand, for my clients. It's going to probably take another month or less, but very, very precise, that has all this in the actual planner. But for instance, I went to Barnes & Noble a month ago. I got a Brandon Burchard $30 kind of his own achievement planner. And that's what I've been using, for the past month. So kind of planning out the month, planning the day before the day starts, breaking down what the 5 to 10 monthly initiative plans that I have. And then number 4 is daily action steps. So each day of your monthly plan should transfer to your daily actions 1 day at a time. So these daily plans will include imperative, important things to do, contacts, follow-ups, and a time to schedule your day. So I like to call them the key performance indicators. So identifying, okay, if my annual goal, let's just say for the T group, okay, let's just kind of put this like out there. If you want to make $10,000 a month, well, we got to get to at least 2,000 employees booked, right? Now, of course, it's going to be beyond that, but let's just say my initiative for July is to get 2,000 employees booked with the T group. Okay, great. So what does that look like? Well, today's the 15th, so that means I got to reach out to 5 or 10 business owners a day. And if I do the math on that, if my ratio is 1 out of 5 and the average is 200 employees, that means I need to book 5, 10, like 20 calls for the month of July if the ratio is 200 and I'm doing, let's say, 5 a week, whatever. So that's where like the math plays out. That's when creativity plays out. That's when the ratio, or a ratio is going to start to appear what your numbers are. And that, again, is just a business goal. But then you have like your personal life and your health and wealth, all that stuff is trackable. It's a KPI. Maybe it's 10 pages of reading of a good book a day. Maybe it's reaching out to 25 people on social media to introduce them to the webinar that we have on Wednesday nights to maybe become a potential affiliate, whatever that initiative or that daily action step. It's you may be thinking, wait, I didn't get all that you said. I mean, I get that I'm going kind of fast, but really what we're about to show you, I think, is going to kind of come together for you. So again, you have the 5-year vision, you're backtracking to 3 annual goals, and then monthly initiatives, daily action steps. but being able to actually write all that down, it's going to take a while. So it's not like, oh yeah, just, take, an hour and you're good to go. This could be an ongoing thing. In fact, I know it's going to be an ongoing thing. I mean, the 5-year vision statement could take you a week to 2 weeks, but you're working on it and you're creating something so compelling, so awesome that, you're in awe of it. And you're just like, I can't wait for this to happen. A couple of quick things. This is what I meditate on. So once you have a clear vision, every morning when you wake up, you want to meditate. You want to, meditate manifestation. You're and I'm pretty good at manifestation. I got to tell you, sometimes I don't believe I am, but when I want something, I get it. And that's not an ego thing. Now, of course, there's God and there's me. Without God, I'm nothing, period, end of story. But because God's given me a vision, if something brings me clarity, I'm going to go after it. And I'm going to do whatever it takes. Now, it could take a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 100 years, whatever. I'm going to go do it if there's clarity. And if it also fulfills my destiny, right? Because that's so important. Because look, just like as the Gladiator movie in 2000 said, what we do in eternity, what we do on earth echoes in eternity. I mean, I love that movie so much. And again, they're making a sequel and it's coming out with Denzel Washington. It's great. But the Russell Crowe, a gladiator defies a Roman emperor, Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic, and what we do on earth echoes in eternity. It's like, yeah, but it's so true. Isn't it so true? The choices we make here do echo your eternity. You're going to have all eternity to realize, wow, I am so glad I did that. Or, oh man, that's embarrassing. I'm not saying heaven's going to be like that, but I'm just saying it could be. Or you could, get there after you pass away. You're like, oh man, I wish I would have, right? Or even before you pass away, or maybe 10 years before you turn that age where you die. Like, no one on this Zoom tonight wants any regret. And if you regret anything right now, the best thing that you can do is make amends. Make amends to the person or the thing. Forgive yourself. Forgive everything that you've done yourself, because that's the biggest thing and the hardest thing is, but that gives us the most control is when we forgive ourselves, but we also forgive anyone that's hurt us. Even if we never get an apology back from them, it's going to start freeing up your heart. Now, believe me, I've tried this. I've done this. It doesn't happen overnight. So even if you're like, I forgive my sex abuser, I forgive my rapist. Okay. This is kind of heavy stuff, but some of you, I would say probably half of you have been sexually abused like I have. So it's like a lot of people have, okay, whether you're a young girl, young boy, like that, you might not think about that right now. And it might trigger someone. I'm not trying to trigger anyone, but have you really forgiven that person? Well, Todd, how could you? That person's disgusting. And if I ever see him, I'll kill him. Yeah, I get that. But that also could be hurting you because you're not making wise, effective choices because something's blocking that abundance. And then when you identify what's blocking that abundance, you're like, man, if I just release this is a negative emotion. And this emotion is actually deterring me from freedom, not just financial freedom, but freedom in general, freedom of the mind, freedom of me actually believing in myself. I talked to a lady today. We had a great conversation. I won't mention her name for confidentiality, but we had a great conversation and she was open with me and she was vulnerable and she just talked about her lack of confidence about what has transpired the past couple of years, whatever. And I didn't get into details because it's none of my business, but I appreciate that because even if we're grown adults, which we all are, the past couple weeks or past couple years might have been very difficult for you. So how do we get past that? Well, we have to, first of all, make that decision to get past it. If there's any resentment, if there's any issues, I'm not saying you have to approach everyone that you've ever had an issue with because that's exhausting. And then you're just going to confuse a lot of these people because they're like, well, I didn't even know you had an issue with me. And exactly, that's the whole point. So many people have issues with people that the other party doesn't even know that they have issues with. And they're going on with their life hunky-dory. And you're sitting there in your spew of anger. Because like, if that person only knew, well, they don't know. So either tell them why you're so hurt by them or just move on. Because look at this way. So just kind of look at yourself like you have an antenna, like an imaginary antenna above your head, right? It's like sticking to your brain and it's coming out of your head and it's very, very long, just like all antennas are. And just like a lot of antennas have that frequency to actually get that radio station or that satellite or that TV program, whatever, you are a frequency, right? So you are either attracting negative frequency or positive frequency. You're attracting more negative in your life because you're focused on the negative. Well, woe is me, or comparing, the compare game, or thinking you're not good enough, or thinking you don't have enough confidence. Your antenna is going off in that frequency, of you're not good enough, or it's never going to happen for you, whatever. And you're just going to get more of the same stuff, right? So again, in this vision statement, in this creating this vision of a better tomorrow for you, you're telling the antenna, or you're turning the antenna side a different way. And now you're attracting abundance. You're attracting a different vision in your life. You're attracting something that maybe you haven't even attracted before, because you're writing it down, you're taking it seriously, and you're taking the opportunity seriously. You're not in one day, out the other. I'm going to do this, change my mind, something better. You're not on Facebook one moment and then signing up with another program the next moment, right? Because let me tell you something. When you're on Facebook and you're desperate and your antenna is constantly, I need money, I need money, I need money, I need now money, now. It's hopefully you don't sell your soul, but a lot of people sell their soul. A lot of people sell themselves also short because they're broke-minded. They don't see the long-term vision of you actually booking 2,000 employees or more, let's say, and now you're at 10 grand a month every month for years to come. What about the 10,000 employee deal that goes through? Now you're at 50,000 a month for years to come. Like what happens when that happens? Well, you expect that to happen if your antenna is saying that that's going to happen. If you're putting it out in writing, it's going to happen. If you put that vibration out of like, this is where I'm going, this is what I'm doing. Now, let me tell you something. Let me tell you the real honest to God truth. This is not easy, guys and gals. I have felt, even in 2024 more than ever, I feel like I've been almost destroyed by the enemy. And you know what the enemy was the whole time? You know what the enemy is? Everyone talks about the deep state, in politics. Who is the deep state? Is it Bill Gates? Is it someone else? Well, it's always like a weird thing, right? So who is the enemy? Because everyone always talks like the enemy, principalities, the people that are after you, the spirit world. Actually, it's you. You are the enemy. I am the enemy. That's why I wrote the book, You Versus You. And yes, there's spiritual beings out there that are not good, and there's always stuff but you control your antenna. So if you, for instance, again, going back to spirituality, if you believe in God, you call out God's name and be like, yo, Jesus or God, I know you got my back. Please have my back. I know you have my back. Please help me in this situation. And then you believe that this situation is going to come to pass, that you want it exactly the way that you want it. But the problem is if you're always constantly visualizing, and also it's not a bad thing to visualizing something that you're afraid of. So for instance, if you're afraid of going broke, that's okay to visualize yourself going broke. Okay, what's the worst case scenario? Well, you might have rich family. You might have a parent or a friend that's kind of wealthy, and what's the worst thing that's going to happen to you? Well, you just ask for money, and then you get back on your feet, and knowing you'll crush it. Okay, that's the worst case scenario. I'm not saying we want that to happen, but you probably just released a bunch of anxiety because you're thinking worst case scenario, when actually you don't have to start thinking like that. So for me, I tend to think worst case scenario, but then I start thinking, okay, and even when like overwhelming, hard, the enemy's attacking, I'm attacking myself, I'm anxious, I'm depressed, I'm smart enough now to know, let me sit in it real quick. This feeling sucks, but let me sit here. Let me really think about this. Let me not react. And let me take some time. And that means, okay, let me go for a walk. Let me get a workout in. Let me go do another session. Let me meditate for 10 minutes. I'm not in control. I recognize I'm not in control. So again, why am I telling you all this? Because when you make a call in business, when you want to achieve financial freedom, all of this is going to come up, and it probably already has. In fact, of course it has. I mean, I'm not an idiot. Of course it has. How many people have come and gone already this year in this opportunity? I don't know, hundreds. How many people have signed up for a gym membership, again, January, and they're not even a member anymore in July of this year? Thousands, millions. It is what it is, right? So for you got to focus on yourself, right? You got to focus on what can I do? So good intentions, effective actions, right? So the importance of planning comes down to you've got to make that plan for yourself. You have to say to yourself, okay, what can I do to plan my best life? So here it is. So I'm going to give you two. Now, this is not in the notes, but I'm going to give you an A and I'm going to give you a B. Okay. So A, if you want abundance, and that's really what we're talking about, then you must have achievement and balance. Okay. So what does that mean? So B, if you want achievement and balance, then you must have a system of personal management that consistently brings your focus to the moment by moment, one day at a time process of effective actions. So what this means, well, simply put, you cannot have abundance without your system of personal management. So planning the day before the day starts, right? Planning your month, doing the simple disciplines compounded over time, but knowing exactly what those disciplines are and those actions are. See, prior planning helps you to become proactive against the comfort zone of procrastination. So if you have a plan tomorrow and you're like, okay, here's my 5 KPIs. Here's what I'm going to do. Here's how I'm going to run. Here's how I'm going to be effective. I'm going to be an effective leader. I'm going to have effective choices. Well, you have to wake up before, you have to plan the night before so that when you wake up, you got everything planned. And I want you to put this as an affirmation. I am a master planner. I am a master planner. Because if you really believe, right, the biology belief, right, the great book that was written years ago, belief. I hear that a lot. I hear that in the Bible. I hear that in a lot of personal development books. I hear it at a lot of conferences. Is you got to believe, right? Like John Addison would say, you got to believe, and you got to believe in your dreams, and you got to believe in the mission that God put you, right? So belief. How do we get belief? Okay, belief doesn't just come. Belief comes first through believing that if you do something compounded over time, of course you're going to win. So start there. And then you start believing that if I can become a master planner, I'm going to do more than I've ever done. You start believing that. Then you start saying, if I plan my day before the day starts, and you believe that when you wake up, you're actually going to do what you said you're going to do, and you believe. And then when you get down to it, when you do the A activity, not the B, not the C, not the D, but the A activity, the money, when I say money, think about this. You can plan to go to the gym all day, but if you don't start sweating and doing the reps, you're not working out. You can manifest money all day, but if you're not making those calls and making those connections and getting them to the finish line of a closed deal, you're not making any money, okay, as an entrepreneur. So the whole point is, you're getting to that point of belief that you actually make the call. You actually ask the girl on a date. You actually follow through with your word. Now, what happens is you're building confidence, okay? And this is where the building confidence comes, because behavior change without an external consistent system would be difficult, if not impossible. So behavioral change is what I'm talking about. You're actually changing behaviors with an actual system in place that allows you to be consistent. And the desired personal habit of daily management is to plan first and act second. So you should always have your monthly plan ready before the month begins and your daily plan ready before each day begins. Because prior planning helps you to become proactive against comfort zones of procrastination. I said that. So comfort zones rush in to fill the vacuum left by unplanned months and days. And I know what it's like to feel like you procrastinated. It sucks. It's like you're a failure. You feel like a procrastinator. That means you're a failure. You just keep putting it off. What do you think that does to your confidence? It drains it. It makes you feel like, man, I don't know if this is for me. Isn't that sad that people get to that point where they could be the best affiliate in the world? They could literally be millionaires and multiple 6-figure earners, not just yearly, but monthly. But then they get to the point where, because they keep procrastinating, because they're not putting a plan together and they're not holding themselves accountable, maybe they don't have a workout partner. It's just sad to see so many talented people fall victim of apathy. I believe that's really the word I'm looking for. And kind of closing up the Zoom tonight, apathy in definition, okay, from my own definition, is apathy is a natural human instinct common to us all, which we constantly seek our comfort zone, which nothing ever changes. Okay. So what did I get? What do I really draw from this definition is it's a natural human instinct common to you and I. It's not like it's just common to you, but not common to Michael Jordan. It's common to you, but it's not common to the president. I don't care if you're the president of the United States. I don't care if you are a celebrity. I don't care if you're an Olympic athlete who's going into the Olympics this summer in Paris. I don't care if you're an NBA player. I don't care if you're LeBron James or anybody. We all struggle with apathy because, again, it's a natural human instinct that's common to us all, which we constantly seek our comfort zone. And I'll say this to you, and hopefully you really get this message, because I deal a lot with people and I deal a lot with you. And I don't say that negatively, but when I say I deal with, Most people have jobs. Okay, so think about it. You probably have a job, and most affiliates have a job. So, and most people have jobs in network marketing. Most people have jobs in affiliate marketing. Like it's always a part-time gig for most people. I'm not saying anything wrong with that, but here's the problem. They have a salary. So when people have jobs, they have some kind of security. I don't care if it's 58 grand a year before taxes or 48,000 a year before tax or whatever. Even if even if they're only making 2 grand a month and their bills are 4 grand a month, they're not going to quit their job based on excitement because again, natural human instinct is you're safe. So when that's just back to like cavemen days. Okay, if you're safe, you're not going to have fight or flight. But a lot of times people have fight or flight these days when they actually try, which I hate that word, but let's say they sign up as an affiliate and then they start making a few calls and then the business owner is not available, or they get a receptionist that says, please don't call us again. Or they even get, even worse, like, oh, those things don't work and never call me again, right? Whatever, you might get that. And I'm not saying you're not. It's the same thing in anything. I mean, my goodness, would a car salesman quit if they say, hey, check out this new BMW? Like, oh, I don't like BMWs. Oh, okay, no problem. We actually have a Mercedes over here. You see what I'm saying? So the car salesman is not going to take it personally if someone doesn't like BMWs. So it's just a matter of pivoting and just, oh, thank you so much for your time. No problem at all. I appreciate. So you don't take things personally, right? But again, it comes to a place where you're growing, and again, you have that vision of being here 5 years from now, and that you know what you want, and you're getting clarity on what you want, and now you're getting excited. It's this excitement. It's this feeling of abundance, because you can't be abundant if you don't feel it. So that frequency that I'm talking about the antenna, is like before you manifest anything, you have to feel what it's going to feel like when you have that certain relationship, when you have that certain body, when you have that certain person in your life, whether they're real or just a figment of your imagination for now, what it's going to feel like to be a wife, what it's going to feel like to be a husband, what it's going to feel like to be a dog mom with your dream dog. Like, well, how's it going to feel to walk that dog that you want? I mean, I want a French bulldog. I mean, I want it so bad. So I'm going to get it this year, but I'm just saying, like, I can't wait when the proper time comes where I'm going to have my own French bulldog. Like, I can't wait. Even that stall, what I'm going to watch, how my night's going to go tonight. I can feel great about it first before it actually happens. Hey, what about this stuff? How am I going to feel if someone texts me something after this call and says, your Zoom sucks, you mother effer? Is that going to now deter the rest of my life? You're like, oh my God, I'm quitting coaching. I'm quitting being a leader because John, whatever his silly name is, just said that Zoom that I just did sucks. Does that, and whatever, and I'm sure no one's going to say that, but I'm just saying, what if that happened, right? Are you ready for that? Because it's going to happen. You will be rejected personally and professionally. If you're single, you're not going to marry the first person you go on a date with. Okay, probably not statistically. You're going to have to go through a lot of dates to find the one. Are you really willing to get rejected enough to find the one? Are you really willing to do what you got to do to get to $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, $50,000 a month with getting rejected by a bunch of business owners first? Are you really? Of course, you have to be, because your vision says you're going to be. Your vision says it's already happened. Your vision says that house in Maui is sitting there waiting for you. You should just fly there now, so to speak. It is there. The one you're creating, the life you're creating, it is there. But closing the Zoom tonight, one of the things you have to understand, it's not going to happen because you're motivated at this moment. It's not going to happen because, oh, that was inspirational. That was so inspirational what he said tonight. Oh my goodness. Anyway, let's watch Netflix. What are we going to watch tonight? No, maybe you need to take 30 minutes after this Zoom and write down some thoughts. Maybe you got to take a lot more action than you're taking. Maybe you got to stop hanging out with people that only want to watch Netflix. Maybe you got to stop hanging out with people that don't have residual income. Maybe you need to start hanging out with people more like myself and other people that are killing this business and doing what it takes and doing all the extra work on top of that. Maybe you need to hang out with people that have six packs so that you can get a six pack. And I'm not talking about beer. I'm talking about abs. Maybe you want to lose 30 pounds. Hang out with people that already are at the weight you want to be at, because you're only going to get more focused because these people are working out all the time and they're just maintaining, and that's just their lifestyle because they never miss their workouts. That's what this is about, is surrounding yourself also with the right mindset of people that can support your dreams and support your goals. So wrapping up this call, that's exactly what we do here. And we have a great system, for any affiliate that comes in, where Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern is our corporate call. That's a lot about the product and the T group and everything that we're doing with them and all that good stuff. That's why I don't spend a lot of time on it, because why would I? If they're already doing it on Thursday, why would I duplicate that? The reason I spend so much time on the personal growth stuff on Monday night is because I know you and I know what you have to go through to get to $10,000 a month. If $10,000 a month was so easy to do, everyone would do it in 3 seconds, but it's not. It's hard, but it's a lot easier than network marketing. This is a lot easier than being a real estate agent. This is a lot easier than selling insurance yourself. All we got to do is book appointments, for goodness sakes. And then also all we got to do is introduce people to the opportunity if you want to have affiliates. I'm not talking about hundreds or thousands underneath you, but a couple. So like we have a webinar every Wednesday. You can easily just, introduce that to people. We have obviously, this on Monday nights, for affiliates. Once you get affiliate in, you can plug them into the corporate call with licensed professionals on Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern. So we have all of this, but you got to plan it. You got to put it in your calendar. It's not planned unless it's in writing in your calendar. Just remember that. You can't, just remember it this way. You can't manifest anything if it's not in a calendar. You can't just sit there and think about things you want without, writing it down. For instance, I can pray in my head, but then I just fall asleep. But when I actually pray out loud and I say my prayer out loud, then it actually becomes real instead of just in my head. Does that make sense to everybody? So again, I just want to encourage you. Kind of my last thought is your best plan and intentions are worthless unless you assume personal responsibility and develop the capacity to manage your effective choices. In other words, simply do what you plan to do without hesitancy, regardless of circumstances or what other people say, think, or do. And as we close out in the last few minutes, the last thing I want to say about that is excuses. What excuses are you telling yourself today? What are things that you're telling yourself that go against your vision, that are hurting you? Well, I'm not good enough. I can't do this. I'm not good as her. You're comparing. You're giving excuses about your personal life. Well, if only my personal life was good, or I got to go on vacation, or I'm going to take 2 weeks off to find myself. Again, good for you. Go find yourself. Go take 2 years off. But we're going to be here building a real business. We're going to be building residual income for our families and our legacy. There's nothing wrong with going on vacation. There's nothing wrong with taking time off. But even when I go on vacation, I'm still working out. I'm still reading. I'm still growing myself and enjoying life on that vacation. I'm not just, eating chips 7 days a week on a resort, okay, and gaining 15 pounds on my vacation. That's just not, I still want to be disciplined. I still want to have fun, but I'm still doing the basic fundamentals that allow me to continue to win. And one of the biggest things that does hold back people is their quote unquote circumstances. So again, do what you say you're going to do regardless of your circumstances. Oh, you're broke right now? I wish I could play the Leonardo DiCaprio video of Wolf of Wall Street, right? And it has some vulgar vulgar words in it. But my gosh, if you want to watch a great movie, Wolf of Wall Street, and I'm not saying do what Jordan Belfort really did, but the guy's a great guy in real life now. He's did his time. He definitely is not doing that anymore to people. But the scene is this. You got problems, close this. You basically make money. 99% of your problems are gone if you make more money. So again, if the creditors are calling you or you have to file bankruptcy, right before you do, you'll go crush this business, then you don't have to do it. If this person's coming at you and that person's coming at you, then make more calls, close more deals, have that abundant life, go after it even harder, 10 times harder, whatever you got to do so that you can be on the other side of that and you could be running your podcast or you're doing your Zooms and you could be sharing your story. Because honestly, I want to hear your story. I want to be on the other end of this Zoom and I want to take notes from you because you're like, yeah, this is, everyone loves truth. So when people do come out and be like, yeah, a year ago, I was actually in this situation, like, oh my God, you were a year? I thought you were so successful. And then they tell their story and then they did, all this other stuff. And you're like, I cannot believe that person is where they're at. Wow. That's so inspirational. That's you. That's you. I think about it even a year from now. Whatever you're going through, great. Write it down. If you feel like a failure, if you feel like you're not good enough, great. Cool. We all feel like that or have felt like that. Cool. No problem. So the question I want to leave you tonight is, so what? So what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? Going to get back up and fight? Are you going to get back and just keep punching? Or are you just going to lay down? You're just going to cower? And I think we saw someone over the weekend that didn't cower. And that was pretty powerful, whether you're Democrat or Republican, to see someone almost be killed and get back up, okay, and fight for this country and this freedom. So either way, guys, are you going to cower? or are you going to fight? Are you going to fight for your family? Are you going to fight for residual? Are you going to fight for freedom? Because that's what this is about. It's fighting for the life that you need, you want to get. Like, go after it. This is your life. Create the life of your dreams, and that's what I'm here to help you do. And that's it. That's it. So with that said, thanks so much for being on the call today. Hopefully you got some important things out of this that you can take, you can implement, you can take action with. I appreciate your time so much. And like I said, hopefully you really got something out of this. Thank you so much for being on.